Hey everyone, it's Tom and Caitlin. Today is day 3 of our auto shop at home. We're going to talk about things under the hood of your car and how to check things, and basically give a brief explanation of how a car works. Okay, Caitlin, so what are the 3 things that I told you that an engine needs to run?
Air, fuel, and spark.
Take me through the path of where the air comes first.
Okay, so it comes in through here, and the air is the air filter, and it goes into the engine. And fuel comes in through these little injection things on the side.
Fuel injectors.
Fuel injectors.
That's called the fuel rail.
And then down here, there's little coils where
Spark plugs are under there.
Plugs are under there.
And how does the car know when to do all this?
There's little computers inside that tells it when to fire.
Okay, Caitlin, what else do we have here? What is this thing?
This is the throttle body. So these little doors will open when you push harder on the gas to let in more air to get more power.
Exactly. This is an electronic throttle body. It's called drive-by-wire. In the old days, maybe before 2005, cars had cables like the Cougar, and the cable would be a linkage direct to your accelerator pedal or gas pedal, which would open this butterfly valve. Right now it's controlled by the computer, and it opens up based on the computer inputs. Caitlin, so what are we looking at next?
This is the serpentine belt. What does it do?
The belt you see is attached to all these pulleys, and each pulley, most of the pulleys are some type of accessory that needs to be turned as the engine is moving, such as the alternator here. I'm sorry, the alternator. This is the throttle body. The alternator generates electricity so that it can recharge the battery. So if you have a bad alternator, the battery will never get charged, and then you'll lose your headlights and everything else. All the electrical systems in your car will fail. You also have a power steering pump down there. You have the air conditioning compressor. You have the they used to have a smog pump in cars back in the day. I don't know if they still do it anymore, and then it's all turned. At the very bottom is a crankshaft pulley, and that is what turns. That is connected to the engine, which turns everything. Also, this fan here, this cooling fan is turned by the same pulley. So you need to check the belt once in a while to make sure it's not cracking or about to break. So Caitlin, I'm assuming the engine produces a lot of heat from working. So how does it stay cool?
So the air goes into the grill and passes through the radiator. And in here there's coolant, which absorbs the heat and keeps the engine at the right temperature. There's also a fan here.
And how do we check the coolant to make sure it's at the right level so we have enough?
Signs on the side of the thing down here.
So it's full hot and full cold. When the engine is hot, the level will expand and it will get to this level. You can always check looking under here and see how high it is. This is called the radiator cap. This is something you don't want to open when the engine's hot, because when the engine's hot, what happens, you think? There's a little picture.
Burned.
It says don't open when hot or else it'll come splashing out in your face.
And the coolant circulates through the engine with these hoses.
That's right. And that coolant is being circulated via the water pump, which is run by the engine. So Caitlin, what is this thing?
This is the steering pump fluid reservoir.
And it says maximum and minimum there. Right now it's at maximum. And what does it do? All right, the steering pump reservoir contains the fluid, the oil, the hydraulic fluid, which goes into your steering pump, and the pump circulates it and provides hydraulic pressure for your steering rack. So it's your power steering, basically. When you turn the wheel, if you didn't have power steering, it'd be really stiff and hard and difficult to turn and wouldn't be smooth. Hey, Caitlin, what's this part?
This is the battery, and it provides energy for anything that needs electricity in the car.
Like the radio?
Stereo, lights.
And what about the ignition system?
Yeah, it needs it to start the car.
To start the car, the starting motor, and the ignition system for spark plugs, right? Caitlin, what is this thing here?
The brake fluid reservoir.
And why do we need brake fluid? It's because our braking system in most cars is a hydraulic system that uses the oil to compress and push out our brakes and make the caliper squeeze to stop the car. Underneath it is the master cylinder, That's the actual device that sends the fluid when you press the brake pedal down to each wheel. And behind this big round thing, you know what that is called?
No.
That's the booster. With power brakes, which almost every single car these days has, you need a way to assist the actual amount of pressure you need to push on the brake pedal to stop the wheels. So there's this big disc thing here. It's basically a big chamber, a vacuum chamber that helps push on your brakes for you. So this is another thing we actually did the other day. We did the oil change, and she's going to check the oil. That's called the dipstick. These took it out to wipe it off first. She's going to put it back in the tube, stick it down, wait a second or so, pull it back out, and now look at where the oil comes up on these hash marks. You can see it's full because we just changed oil yesterday, and it looks pretty clean and clear. It's okay for oil to look brown after driving for a little bit. That's normal, but once it gets to about 5,000 miles is the typical recommended interval for a lot of cars. You'd want to change that out because the oil becomes less effective at lubricating the engine. The thing we're going to check is the air filter. She's going to unclip the box, lift this out of the way, and then pull out this air filter cartridge. Most cars have this rectangular shaped filter, all pleats here. The way to check that it's dirty is you can look into the sunlight like this. This one's relatively new, so I'm not worried, but if it were all black and dirty and full of bugs, you would want to replace that. And then you put the new one in like that, and then put the box back in place, and you're set. So that's it for today, but what are we going to learn tomorrow about cars?
Tomorrow we're going to learn how to check the air pressure in the tire and how to put more air in them.
Yep. See you later.